Hello and welcome to the IT 297 internship interview here once again in the spring of 2026. Today we're doing our second interview today with Alexander Carter. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good
Happy
to hear.
to be here.
In case this is anybody's first, podcast hearing this or video hearing this, I like to always walk through what got you into technology, like when the bug bit you, maybe as a kid in elementary school, that type of thing. What led you here to Mount West, and advice you would have for people who maybe are just starting their journey, and also advice and talking about your internship. So yeah, basically, when did you fall in love with technology in whatever form that may take?
I was kind of forced into it as a child. I mean, no, forced sounds bad, but no, my dad was obsessed with computers. As I was growing up, I think he handed me a very thick book on C++ about at the age of 6. And I don't know, I've just been on computers ever since. I learned I hate coding in my first attempt at college, and then eventually led me here.
Wow. I remember, you saying that unlocked something for me. I feel like one time my mom bought me.
Or it might have been Visual Basic, actually. Might not have been C++.
Well, my mom bought me what looked like a coloring book, like Imagine That style book. And it was a book on coding. And I mean, I'm a bit older than you. So I later learned Visual Basic. But what I remember about this is I couldn't figure out how in the world any programmer could do programming, because whatever I was using, Pascal or whatever, all the characters look like wingdings. I was some of the characters you were typing were like exclamation points and smiley faces. I wasn't typing words. So, and I still don't know what it was actually I was programming with.
Yeah.
But I was copying verbatim what the book said, and it was making like a game like Adventure. And I'm like, I don't know how programmers do this. It was some crazy wackadoo stuff. So,
I mean, I partially understood the code I was looking at least in college, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how coders do it either.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, later when I learned Visual Basic and C and C++, I saw a method of the madness. I actually saw actual words, and I was like, okay, this is way better than typing crazy wingding font things that like smiley faces and stuff. Like I didn't know. I mean, maybe it was more like Atari 2600 programming. I didn't know what was going on. It was crazy. But you found out then pretty fast that you didn't like programming.
Not fast enough. But yeah, I eventually found out I didn't care for programming or like higher level math. So I didn't drop out soon enough and accrued a lot of college debt. Don't do that.
Oh, so you were saying, like, I was thinking maybe your dad got you into C or Visual Basic, but you're saying even after high school you went into college.
Yeah, even after high school I went into college
to do
I wanted to do video games.
Okay, yeah.
And so I went into a video game program, and the first coding language you get hit with is Python, which is radically different than what I had messed with before.
Right.
So, and I don't know anyone who actually likes Python except for the Python Club, but yeah, it just wasn't for me, and neither was Moorhead. So I eventually switched to computer programming instead of game dev. Still didn't like that. Went through 4 years of college, wasted. Again, don't do that.
Right. Well, I mean, if it feels like it's a place you don't belong, then you're saying maybe have a good talk with yourself before 4 years comes along.
Yes, definitely. Like, because I probably should have known like a year or two in, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Because I'd disconnected from the classes at that point. So,
gotcha. Well, so you mentioned Moorhead. So I mean, I'm assuming Kentucky.
Yep.
That's a distance. So, 2-part question. What made you say, oh, you know what? I don't like programming at all. I'm going to go more of a networking track. And then also Moorhead's a bit of a distance from us. So how did you wind up finding us and coming here?
Oh, well, I was born and raised here.
Okay.
I had a bunch of friends who went to Moorhead. That was partially the reason I went there.
Fair enough.
And it had in-state tuition still, so even though it's in Kentucky.
Gotcha.
And much cheaper than Marshall. There's always
yeah,
that.
well, that's understood there as well. Okay.
But yeah, mostly Keelan is the reason.
Okay.
I'm here for this program. Keelan did this program before I did.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tier 3 now. And he's helped me a lot getting to this point.
So was Keelan, already like a family friend that you already knew? Like, how did you find out about? I mean, how did you all connect?
Me and Keelan play video games together.
Okay.
On Discord, that's how we met. And
Gotcha.
I've just been friends with him since like 2019.
Okay, makes sense. For those who are like, who's he talking about? Keelan. I do these interviews every single semester, so I would think Keelan Lambert. I probably did his interview probably in 2023. He was an Intiva a student who went through Intiva, like Alexander is doing now, and he does work there full time. But if you're interested to hear about his trajectory, you can look back at our older audio podcasts and find Keelan Lambert's to hear about his. So, okay, wow, that's an interesting trajectory. Like, I feel like when you enroll here, they should have a card that says like, "How did you find out about us?" And they be like, an alumni, an MCTC alumni. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest, it was a last minute decision at 1 a.m. to enroll. So there's also that.
Fair enough. But, at this point, you're almost 2 full years in. And I would hope, based on where you are, that you don't have the same feelings you had when you were 4 years in.
I don't
want to do this.
Yeah, no, I do want to do this. I quite enjoy Intiva. Like, I enjoy helping people. I don't really enjoy being on the phone, but like, I enjoy helping people. Right. And it's a good job when they give me work.
Gotcha. Well, so, you mentioned you didn't like the programming stuff. Can we talk about like the classes you took here in networking? Is there any advice you would have for people based on those classes? Things you liked, things you didn't like, advice you would have about things you wish you did differently, that type of thing?
I would pay more attention in the lectures if I could go back, because I'll be honest with you, I have trouble listening for
fair enough
3 hours. I didn't care for how the busy, some of it felt like busy work, like the test out stuff feels like busy work, but I mean, it helps a little bit. I think a lot of the stuff that I've gotten, a lot of the Azure and AD stuff has really stuck with me. And it's helped me a lot at Intiva. Especially some of the Azure stuff we're going over recently.
I know you were a student who ended up, before you came into my second year Microsoft classes, you actually did the summer class, right? The networking practicum class?
Well, yeah, I did, but I dropped out after like I think 3 weeks.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Oh,
yeah, I had some family issues.
That's understandable. But of what you were doing, did that help connect anything for you, like in the beginning?
The first lab, I mean, a little bit, because we had already done that in Gary's final just the semester before. So like, I have gotten a pretty good grasp of like setting up a network, considering we've done it, I don't know, like 4 times now.
That's cool. That's good.
Including Brandon's class, we kind of had to set up another network for our lab 1.
Fair enough. What I will say, I'm sure you're far from the first student who has the feelings of these classes can be quite long. There's a lot of information. I zone out after 15 minutes.
You guys pump us with a lot of information.
It's true. And what I will say is, it comes from a place of warmth. Like, we're giving you the information because you need the information. And I know it feels like a fire hose, but years ago, somebody on an evaluation said to me, "You give a lot of great information, but you talk faster than I can write notes." which is why originally they purchased me a little digital voice recorder. It's like a little special USB
Oh,
one.
is that why you do all the Zoom recordings now?
Yeah. Well, I first started with a digital voice recorder, and then someone said, you say a lot of great things, but I'd love to see the screen. And so I started using Camtasia in 2007. And so because of that, I was like, you all need to buy me this. And so I started using Camtasia. And even before, like, I was recording since 2007 that way. The pandemic happened, and then we lucked into being able to use Zoom.
Mhm.
And I was like, this is even better because now
Yeah.
my students can be at the house and watch me live. So what I would say is I
think the Zoom classes have helped me do this much better
well, I mean, I was going to
than
say
I would
like,
have for full in-person classes.
I would completely agree with you that me too. Like I have a difficult time sitting there for 2.5 hours. And what I'll do is if I have the luxury of a professor or a video series that I've got that I can come back to, I'll get up, go do something, make some food, and then try to come back and rewatch. I've even had students tell me that when they first watch my class or whatever, they just sit there. And one of my students previously told me this. So like, if you're not
I
this
watch your
way, that's
class
fine.
like twice a week. So
Well, they were going to say,
I mean,
yeah,
not like I watched the class twice.
right. They said they like the first time they watch it, they try to like absorb what's happening. And if they don't know something, they'll try to ask me because then I'm live.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I'll watch it a second time and then take notes. And I was like, wow, I'd never thought about that.
That's kind of exactly my process.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it's a good process to have. And so many people say to me, like, how am I supposed to do this? And everybody's different. So I like to try to bring up these different ideas, these different tips for people. So, if you are a person like that, we now have 3 professors here, starting this fall, with myself, Zan, and Gary, who are more than welcome to use Zoom to record all their classes. So take advantage of that. I even pull mine down and put them up in the classes. So at this point, if you wanted to, you could go back to my fall classes. They're still turned on a Blackboard, and you could even, pull down those videos. So I try to make the stuff available to students in any way, shape, or form.
Because you give us like older videos all the time.
Yeah, well, I try to do that too because I completely understand that somebody this semester may say, I want to sit for the test in the class I took last semester. So I want to leave that stuff available for you all to be able to use if you want.
It's a great resource.
Like I think about, in Gary's class, I feel like a lot of people who take their A+, they don't do it in the middle of his class. They're in the middle of learning that stuff. They wait till after 270 and sit for it. So being able to have that resource to go back on would be great. So I think that's a great point. Shifting gears to your internship, before you had worked at Intiva, had you already had a job someplace else doing something else before?
Oh yeah, I've worked a bunch of jobs.
Okay, so like retail or fast food, or like I worked at a gas station when I was in high school.
I worked restaurants, and mostly restaurants and call centers. That was the majority of what I've done.
So in that case, like when you made your resume and you gave it to Jacob, did you put that stuff on there from
I put all of my call center experience on there. I didn't put my McDonald's experience because I don't feel. I mean, I can apply some of those skills,
right? But
the call center experience has all the skills that would apply to.
Totally. The reason I asked the question is because I would tell people out there, they'd be like, well, I don't want to put the fact that I worked at Wendy's for 3 years. And I was like,
no, it's great to have, for this job especially, it's great to have communication skills.
Exactly. And you may think Wendy's job doesn't have that, but every single day you're working with the public. So it's fantastic to put on there. So don't leave that out. If you got like 10 jobs you've had, I understand you want to cut that down to like the last 3.
Skills are key in any job, I would say.
I agree. So. I completely agree. So you'd already had those other jobs. How does this job stack up to what you'd done before? Like, were there things you were surprised about?
The atmosphere at Intiva is a lot more lax than any other business environment I've ever been in. Mm-hmm. Call volume is a lot lower as well. So it's not as stressful, really, but it's also like the work is more interesting because something I like to do when it's not just email tickets. But. Right.
Well, I think that probably makes a big difference too. It's easier to roll out of bed each morning when you're doing something you like than something you hate. So is there any advice you would have for people who are thinking about going to do their internship at Intiva? any leg ups you think they could have knowing ahead of time on what's it going to be like?
I think it's not like a leg up, but I would start applying for your internship as soon as possible. I think I waited too long and didn't get in until like the after my second semester had finished.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I could, if I could have had more time with it. I think that would have been good for me.
Fair
So I
enough.
applied earlier.
Fair enough. I mean, I will say out there, Jacob has expressed an interest in coming and talking to you all this semester. So, FYI, get your resumes ready because
And he's also currently trying to open up more spots. So
true. There are many people who are working in Intiva who are going to be graduating in May. There's going to be spots available. If you can get your resume to Jacob, then you could make sure, you start as soon as the fall semester begins or maybe even earlier. So that's some really good advice.
And I mean, not to praise Devin too much, but he's already hired on. And he hasn't even finished up.
That's true. I think over the years we've had here, I think we've had maybe somewhere in the area of 8 people who have found spots and gotten hired on at Intiva full time. And so that is a possibility. Some of that comes down to, well, there has to be someone to have left or they have to be expanding the thing. So it's not always based on whether they think you're good enough. Sometimes
it's just about space.
Yeah. Sometimes the luck gods have to be on your side and be like, look, there's this space that have opened. And if you're ready, I feel like they say, what is that? Opportunity is like
opportunity not take it or whatever.
Yeah. Opportunity is like knowledge plus luck because just because you have the knowledge, like you have to have that in, and so that's a good point though. But good to know. Anything else you think would be advice you'd want to give to somebody based on your experience coming in through here or in Intiva? Anything that I didn't ask you about in that regard?
Don't be because I was really nervous. Going into it, especially whenever Jacob said I was going to start taking tickets and calls.
Mm-hmm.
Really nervous. Don't be nervous. Everyone's there to help you.
And one before I open up to questions, one more thing I thought about. You're working for Intiva. You've gone through. You've learned about all this computer technology stuff, and you're taking tickets. So you're taking tickets from people who are not the most technologically advanced people. And you got to help them fix their problem. Knowing all this stuff, them not. Can you talk about your process, your communication skills to convey the stuff to them in a non-technical way to get their question solved, but without making them feel frustrated or belittled, that type of thing, like how you interact with the public in an IT way? You
just have to kind of meet them where they're at, like, especially like, because these are... if you don't know what's happening, you tend to panic more than usual.
Mm-hmm.
So these people are typically like stressed out or in panic, and you just have to, calm them down. And then usually just, you don't have to be technical with them. Just, be very plain with your language, And the hardest part is deciphering what they mean a lot of the times because they don't know what they're talking about. So like, for example, a guy, I had a ticket to add international access, which is not the term that we would use. It'd be conditional access policies. And I wasn't completely sure what he meant. I wasn't immediately sure, but
that's very timely, by the way.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, from our class in 222.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is like the stuff we're doing in class is like sometimes applies directly to my day.
So I would assume, knowing what I know, when he says international access, he's saying that he's going to have to go abroad to some other country.
Yeah, he had 4 employees that needed that were going abroad and needed to have access to the servers while they were abroad.
And like, from an IT standpoint, it looks really scary if suddenly you see people connecting to your VPN from like Spain or Portugal, because you're like, oh crap, a hacker's in.
Yep.
But so what it means now. You need to be able to give him conditional access based on that risky thing. So that's a good point. Trying to figure out the language they know it's almost like you're an interpreter to some
Yep.
degree in IT, the language of IT. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reason why I ask those questions is because like one of the things they want us to assess you on when you leave here
Is our communication skills?
Well, that, but also there's this thing called cultural intelligence. And so, in that regard, the way I see it is IT, we have a culture all of our own. We speak our own language. Like if a doctor walked by us, they'd be like, what in the world are they talking about? But also, if we walked by doctors talking about
Yeah.
surgery, we'd say the same thing. And so it becomes, how do you effectively communicate with somebody who's not part of that peer group? And I think doing tier 1 tech support is the pinnacle example of that, because you have people calling in and they
Who
don't
have
know
no idea what. A lot of times they don't even know what they need. Like they don't know what they need help with.
Right. So and you help them figure it out. So that's the perfect example I had there. Anybody out there in the classroom or on Zoom have any questions here today for Alexander? Okay. So so the question for both of us, Alexander, is do you think it is important for you to find an internship if it's possible, to find something in an area you don't have a focus on? Like in your case, you were already a Microsoft person, you're going through my admin stuff. But like if there was an opportunity that presented itself for like say Cisco, and you didn't really know a lot about Cisco switches and routers, would you leap at that ability to go in and get your feet wet? Or would you think, I want to stay where I know and be a more valuable person there?
No, I mean, I want to learn as much as I can. I've told Jacob if because he's mentioned like the Apple team, which is something I know squat about Apple products, except that iPhone 4 like 2 decades ago.
Sure.
But I jumped at a chance to work with the Apple team or like learn about that kind of stuff. Yeah. I think it's really important to try to grow your skills.
I want to second that. I want to say, so to some degree, Rod, I had people that used to go up to a place called ATS up in Taze Valley. It's now under new management called New Era. We don't really send people there anymore. They're more of a programming outfit. But I had people who were here, took classes and went up there and fell in love with technologies we didn't even offer here, like mainly telephony. They were learning about voice over IP phones. And so you don't really know if, your great love is a technology you haven't played with out there. So I would say that in that regard. What I would also say is I can see both sides of the coin, to where if you're a work study here and you're able to work in IT here, it's comfortable, it's convenient, and that's great. That's the pros of everything. The cons, I would say, is how many tickets you get to work, how much technology you've been exposed to. If you leave here and go to do an interview and someone says, do you know about this technology? And you go, no, I don't. You know about this technology? No, I don't. You know about this technology? No, I don't. They may, you may be able to say, but I'm ready for a challenge. They may either go, that's inspiring, let's go with this person. Or they may go, this guy over here already said yes to all these technologies, and I'm going to pay him the same amount of money. So I want the guy that knows some about it. So I think at least dabbling, dipping your toe and dabbling in a different area could be worthwhile. But I completely get if your situation doesn't allow for that. I do just think that potentially you're able to set yourself up for even greater success the more experience you have in different areas. But I completely understand if someone is like, I want to stick where I am because it works with my schedule and I can't do anything else right now. I get it. But the people that sometimes take a bigger chance on themselves, I think eventually they see how that'll pay off in spades somewhere down the line. So I hope that helps there.
Just to add to that, because I think it's important, or at least something that Brandon had mentioned in his classes at one point, is that we always you should leap at a chance for these things, because you should always be growing and always be like improving your skills. If you're not, especially in technology, because like, I mean, who knows what's going to happen like the next year. I mean, we're talking about AI constantly right now. Who knows what we'll be talking about a year from now.
And I would say potentially from an employer standpoint, you want to look at somebody who has not been stagnant. You want to look at somebody who wants to jump at the chance, who's hungry to try that. And so I think that's a good point there as well.
And I mean, new stuff's exciting.
Right.
So,
Charlotte has a quick question here for you about what was your favorite customer situation you've had at Intiva? Any memorable ones besides the one you were talking about with the international access?
the funniest one was I had gotten a ticket from I can't remember the client.
Oh, you don't need to say the name. It's fine.
But I had gotten a ticket, and it was they couldn't access their messages on LinkedIn, right? So I remote in, and he's like, "Yeah, I was talking to this person on LinkedIn, and he's got his LinkedIn page open, right? And he's like, I just, for the life of me, can't find the messages. They're gone." I'm like, "Okay, open up the messages tab for me." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, right there at the top, it says messages. Just click on that." And he clicks on it. He's like, "Wow, you fixed it." And I'm just like, "Yep."
I thought you were going to say that his let's call it his wall in LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I thought you were going to say that
Like something got deleted.
Well, no, I thought you were going to say he thought all those were messages directly for him. There were people talking to him on his wall. He's like, "It refreshed. Where'd they all go?" No,
he couldn't figure out how to access his messages on LinkedIn.
Well, that's a funny story, but man, look how little effort it was to brighten that guy's day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I think that's also proof positive.
It's a funny story, but also it's any bit helps.
But it's also proof positive when people are so scared of the unknown. They're like, "Oh my gosh, what type of tickets am I going to take?" They're probably going to be nightmarish tickets. That was a pretty easy ticket.
Yeah, no, I mean a lot of the tickets I get are easy, and if they're really really hard, they're probably going to get moved up to tier 2. So that's another thing you don't have to worry about.
Gotcha. Well, sir, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us and sharing your experience and talking about your time. I always find it valuable to brain share with other students, and it's awesome to some degree. Keelan kind of paid it forward with you. He talked to you, and now you're here, and you're gonna be able to be the Keelan next time and talk to people about all this. So I greatly appreciate it. And
this is great. Thank you.
Thank you.